I doing? Where am I going? Like, what's the next step for me? Is this really where I want to be? Is this really what I want to do? For 7 years, I was in that role, and it was great work. It was a wonderful organization. But at the same time, I felt the Lord separating me and calling me higher, right? I felt Him nudging me and saying to me, daughter, you can do more, and I'm releasing you. So I resigned. I resigned and just started to seek the Lord about my next steps. Like, Lord, what would you have me to do next? After being in this role for 7 years, there was a brand and an identity attached to that person. I had to rebrand and really say, okay, Lord, what does my identity look like now that I am no longer an employee of this organization? At this point in my life, when I'm meeting people, there's no organization attached to me. That the brand of the organization is no longer attached to me. I had to rebrand. And figure out who I was in this new season. A lot of that boiled down to personal development and really looking at my life and saying, okay, in terms of my personality, my character, my morals, and my values, where do I stand now? In terms of my mission and my vision for my life, where do I stand now? Because at the same time that I resigned from that role, I had met my boyfriend at the time, who is now my husband. And so that status was changing. I was changing status from being a single woman to being in a relationship. There were a lot of things happening within me where I'm like, okay, Lord, what is going on? What are you wanting me to do? What is the next step? I really had to get clear on my vision. I had to get clear on my mission. I had to get clear on my gifts and my talents and my skill sets and really build out who I was without this brand attached to me. It took some time, it took some effort, it took some tears, and I went through a period of grief because I'm like, who am I? Who am I, Lord, without this organization? Like, I don't get to go and tell people, hey, I'm Andy, the blank, blank, blank at such and such and such and such. I don't get to say that anymore. So who am I? And so in regards to personal branding, you can't brand a person that you don't know. So when we talk about personal branding and you're going out and you're trying to present yourself to the public in a particular way, you have to do the deep work to figure out who that person is that you're branding. I want to share the definition that I found for personal branding. Personal branding is the process of defining and promoting what you stand for as an individual. What you stand for as an individual. Where we start is the core four. The core four. Your personality, your character, your morals, and your values. So in terms of your personality, okay, this is the physical expression of who you are. So this is manifested in your behaviors, in your actions. So when you meet somebody, they're like, oh, she's so bubbly. Or they may meet somebody like, she's really, really shy, right? So this is how people perceive you when they first meet you. You reserved or really over the top? Are you a quiet person by nature, or are you very loud? This is how they first perceive you when they meet you. Next is your character. These are the things that we can't see, right? So this is the development that takes place on the inside of us. Usually the environment that we grew up in, and the rearing and the teaching and the parenting that we have received growing up tends to affect our character. A few areas that we associate with character are your integrity, empathy, resilience, discipline, responsibility, courage, patience, humility, loyalty, gratitude, generosity, fairness, perseverance. So curiosity, these are things that you can't see. Like you can't like look at somebody and be like, oh yeah, she's very curious. You can tell somebody is curious once you get to know them by way of their personality, but then you also start to dig a little bit deeper. Next is your morals. So your morals, we all know what morals are. This is the set of beliefs or standards that you guide your life by. These beliefs guide how you behave. So this is the unseen work that lies behind and fuels the decisions that you make. So this is like right or wrong. So what you believe about what is right and what you believe about what is wrong. Then we have our values. Values are things or beliefs that are of importance or worth of something to you. So years ago, I completed an assessment, a values assessment, just to kind of figure out, okay, what my values were. Y'all, at that time, my values were growth, creativity, integrity, kindness, cleanliness, and patience. I recently did another values exercise, maybe like a few months ago, and I was like, those previous values do not align with who I am today. And the person that was leading the exercise, like she helped us to see that your values change, right? So depending on what season you're in life, your values may change. So all of those values, I did that exercise when I was maybe like 25 or 26. At that time, I was previously married, so I was worried about growing as a wife. I was worried about being kind. I had a business that I was starting, so I was worried about being creative. Cleanliness, like we had just moved, and so I was trying to figure out how to be clean and keep the house clean. And patience, I'm like, Lord, I just need all the patience in this marriage. Those were my values at the time. And so now I'll share with you guys my current values. And my current values, I have separated into two different categories. I've separated them personal and professional. And there can be overlap of your values in both areas. So my personal values are assertiveness, focus and discipline, awareness, learning, peace, and acceptance. And then professional values are adaptability, present, consistent, confidence, and challenge. So as I am building a business, right, and trying to figure out what this entrepreneurship space looks like for me, my values have to be different. Maybe in 6 months, my values may change. It's really just, what are you prioritizing right now? Like, what is it that you value right now? I value my faith right now. I value learning right now. I value being assertive because I have to advocate for my needs. So whatever it is, what does that look like for you? In each one of those areas, I would encourage you to get clear, right? And this is personal development. This is you developing as a individual, right? This has nothing to do with the work that you do, but this is who you are. We've got to get clear on our personality. We've got to get clear on our character. We've got to get clear on our morals, and we've got to get clear on our values. This makes up the core of who we are. So when people meet you, you come with all of that. They can't see any of it, but you come with it. And as they get to know you, it just slowly unfolds. And they're like, oh man, she has great character. Like, we really like her personality. Like, man, like she really values her job. She really values being clean. Like she really values, like, all of these things will start coming out, okay? In order to be who God has called us to be and truly move and grow and elevate and really go, go after what God has given us, we got to get clear on these things. You can't brand something that you don't know. You cannot brand something that you don't know. So that is all. That's all that I have to share with you guys today. I pray that it encouraged you. I pray that in one of these areas or all four of these areas, that you're able to really look at yourself and say, okay, in my personality, my personality is maybe reflecting somebody else's personality, or I'm acting this way. I lost my earring, child. Maybe I am acting this way because somebody else is acting this way, or I saw this picture of a person, and so that is why I act this way, right? So your personality and how you are developing it, right? So even in your character, are you a loyal person? Are you a patient person, right? And you're a responsible person. Like really getting clear on those. Your morals. What do you believe is right and wrong? If someone said, hey, we want you to do this, what do you say? Do you go along to get along, or do you say, yeah, I prefer not to do that, or this is not really something that I participate in, so you guys can go ahead, right? Your values. What's important to you right now? What are you prioritizing in the season? Okay, so those are some things just to be thinking about. It's time to get serious about being who God has called us to be, and be serious about living our lives poured out like oil. So until next time, I pray that you will continue to live your life poured out like oil. Until next time, bye.